India is witnessing rapid urbanization. While the growing urban centers are fueling economic growth, they are a key contributor to climate change.
National Institute of Urban Affairs is nudging state and cities towards urban transformation journey. We are working with the urban ecosystem of the country through our three lenses, which is capacity building, advocacy, and research. The broad idea is how do you mainstream different reforms within the urban transformation, and we are using 5 centers to really take this journey forward. These 5 centers are Center for Urban Development and Economic Growth, Center for Municipal Governance and Finance, Inclusive Center for Cities, Center for Digital Governance, and lastly, Center for Climate Change for Cities. The Center for Climate Change for Cities is one of our core center and a flagship center. The broad objective of this center is to mainstream climate action at the local level, all to understand the global goals at the local level. We are working through 7 approaches, and these 7 approaches are help cities appreciate the data systems, help cities appreciate the technologies and tools which are available so that they can diagnose the challenges and prepare a roadmap for future. Third is to work on capacity capsules to strengthen the capacities at the local level. Fourth area where we are working is to create all the partners who are working at a city level, bring them at one platform so we can talk about a common language, common terminology, and common actions. The purpose is that instead of what and why, we move the discourse to when and how, and then cities are much more equipped with a lot of tools and templates to move forward. Area where we are also working is to create a transfer of knowledge, so bringing best practices at a global level, and also move from masses to classes, which is take the democratization of knowledge to a larger discourse of 4,400 urban local bodies. And lastly, we are building young leaders for the future so that the skill sets at the urban local bodies and youth start appreciating the role of local bodies and prepare cities for the future. So these are 7 approaches which we are trying to nudge state and cities towards the new journey. The broad objective is also to help cities prepare towards the global commitments, as well as work a journey towards the aspirational commitment which our Prime Minister has laid, which is India net zero by 2070. I hope our interventions will help not only to meet the global goals, but also position India at a global level and takes its journey as a global leader in the future years to come.
At C-Cube, the center was established with an intent to build climate actions across Indian cities. We work on 2 mission heads, which includes that how do we enable cities to think about climate actions not as a separate initiative, but as part of all their ongoing projects and upcoming initiatives. We are currently working with GCOM in building the capacities of the cities. We are also in the process of developing climate action planning across 5 cities in India. We are working closely with World Bank in terms of compiling what are the best practices with respect to nature-based solutions. We are also working with WRI and WWF and the Nature Conservancy in initiating and establishing India Forum for Nature-Based Solutions. In addition to these projects, we are working with ICLEI on their capacities project. We are also supporting UNEP and RMI in their India Cooling Action Plan. So with that, I guess that what we are planning to do in the future are a couple of things. We want to work towards gamification of our modules, training modules. We want to scale up these modules to reach out to large number of cities through the regional training institutions. We want to work towards this enhancement of the data wall so that it can inform city officials in their day-to-day decision-making process. And we also want to closely work with the national government in designing programs and projects so that additional investment can be brought to the forefront for the cities in implementing these climate actions.
Indian cities are beginning to understand the high cost of climate change and the need for mitigation and adaptation. The Climate Center for Cities, along with several Climate Alliance partners, has initiated various actions to help build conceptual, technical, administrative, management, and innovation capacities across the urban local bodies. One of the key initiatives is training aligned to the Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework. These modules are designed for virtual consumption and are precise with their content. There is a very short presentation with key concepts and action areas, followed by a detailed interactive exercise that equips the participants with skills and also supports them in decision making. As a next step, we're focusing on three key aspects. One, to ensure scalability and sustainability of training across 4,000 urban local bodies by developing a capacity grid which includes of experts, training institutes, and potential participants. Second, we're focusing on handholding the participants to ensure the translation of training to action can take place. And third, we're developing MOOC modules for the National Urban Learning Platform so the participants can take these courses at their convenience. In addition, we have also conducted learning series. It's a 10-week learning series that focuses on governance and management aspects of addressing climate change. And currently, we're exploring gamification of training process to inform decision making.
The complexity of climate crisis in Indian cities demands a data-driven response at national, regional, and local level. The Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework and Climate Data Observatory are the primary gateway for informed decision making. Our efforts are intended to fill knowledge gaps and encourage cities to innovate and build ground-level resilience.
Climate action planning requires a multi-stakeholder engagement. To enable such engagement, it is important to create awareness and build sensitization on climate risk and ways among individuals, communities, and city as a whole to build climate resilient actions. In this regard, three major awareness campaigns activities that includes in-person and online events, city-level photography competition, and social media outreach. 35 cities have conducted in-person and online events to create awareness among the citizens. Over 15,000 citizens participated in in-person and online events. 80 cities participated in social media campaign and 4 million impressions on social media have been received. In addition, 8 webinars, more than 35 podcasts, and more than 50 weekly newsletters and blogs, they have been published to sensitize students as well as young practitioners of urban development ecosystem. Similar activities are planned in addition to enhanced communication and coordination with cities and taking forward Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's mission, Lifestyle for Environment, to bring individual behavior at forefront of the global climate actions.
The Climate Center for Cities, widely known as C-Cube, envisions to create various climate action across Indian cities through various initiatives such as policy and planning, data and technology, knowledge sharing and research and innovation, communication and partnership. It's a collaborative effort of various organizations to achieve the goal of sustainable development, and this can happen through partnership. So, in order to achieve this goal, the Climate Center for Cities has established a Secretariat for Climate Alliance Partners, which comprises of various stakeholders including state, national level government organizations, bilateral, multilateral agencies, financial institutes, development banks, training and research institutes, NGOs and INGOs. Currently, we are an alliance of 78 partners working together, bringing diverse skills through trainings, implement various climate-related actions in cities, share good knowledge and good practices across cities, and implement various climate-related actions and address the climate risk across cities. In future, we are aiming to strengthen our reach by onboarding more members to create a national and global partnership.
Several initiatives were taken by the C-Cube team to enhance the process of engagement with 126 cities in CSEF 2.0. Engagement with the city officials is crucial to build climate actions in the cities, especially to enhance the efficiency and coordination among various line departments. several initiatives were taken by the C-Cube team to enhance the process of engagement with 126 cities in CSEF 2.0 process. Considering how pandemic had affected us, certain strategic virtual handholding sessions were conducted in the form of audio call, video call, and resolving queries by the help desk center. Along with this, capacity building in the form of training sessions were conducted, which were provided to the city nodal officers by our thematic experts and were supported by the members of C-Cube core team. More than 1,000 city representatives were trained through 56 virtual training sessions and workshops, which were based on various themes of CSEF 2.0. And these mentoring sessions were conducted in order to provide them support for understanding various data sets which were a part of CSEF 2.0. As we move forward in the next phase of assessment, we will continue to facilitate training and handholding support to cities on ground to systematically institutionalize climate actions.
I am the host of the podcast, Understanding the Future, a podcast which talks about the future of cities and future of work with experts, government officials, and entrepreneurs. And we have already done more than 50 episodes. The idea of the podcast is to understand what future of cities looks like in India, what are the different challenges, risks, opportunities, and what do experts have to say on what we can achieve. As well as when we try to integrate all these things together, we bring about what are the different skill sets required to anchor every conversation on future of work. With the Climate Center for Cities, we are developing Climate Practitioners India Network. The network has more than 850 members from 100 plus cities and is being led by Climate Center for Cities. We are soon planning to bring more activities to increase our engagement on the network and to build a better practitioners network in India. The objective of this network is to develop an engagement platform for practitioners across India on climate change. It has selected 10 volunteers which are leading the monthly discussions on various climate-related topics.
CSCF, that is the Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework, is one of our major projects. As a part of the CSCF, we analyze Indian cities with respect to their climate preparedness. On the basis of data received, we have come up with this data wall known as the Climate Data Observatory. It covered the performance of Indian cities with respect to their performance across thematic areas. It also covered data points. The USP of the second dashboard of the Climate Data Observatory was the data from Indian cities which we have captured. We made it out open to public. The repository or the observatory we have developed was developed with the intention of creating a platform for solution providers, for city officials, for multiple organizations to look at these data points from across the country and understand where do Indian cities need support. Further, within the same dashboard, there are recommendations. These are tailor-made recommendations which are available for the cities to improve in the climate assessment framework. The next section of the dashboard focuses on the best practices. The idea was that how can we promote peer-to-peer learning among Indian cities. So best practices have been mapped for each thematic area and also the indicator-wise best practices have been provided. We are presently in phase of enhancing it further and trying to bring in data from other centralized agencies wherein our stakeholders will have an option to download, to view, to analyze and to generate insights and contribute to climate action planning across the country.
I would like to start by mentioning that there has been a common misconception about nature-based solutions. However, nature-based solutions go beyond tree planting and afforestation. It requires mainstreaming of ecosystem conservation and management into the overall urban planning and institutional framework. Nature-based solutions can contribute in multiple ways to climate change, biodiversity conservation, disaster risk reduction, and sustainable development at various local, national, as well as international levels. In other words, synergy between climate change and biodiversity conservation is fundamental, and the two agendas must be concurrently pursued to reduce GHG concentrations and promote natural adaptability to climate change. Estimates suggest that 37% of the mitigation needed until 2030 can be contributed by nature-based solutions. Therefore, to mainstream nature-based solutions in Indian cities, C-Cube has been working to identify parameters, resources, and build a feedback loop to promote the design, testing, and development of improved and innovative nature-based solutions. Climate Center for Cities also aims to training of trainers to build the capacity of stakeholders for adopting NBS integrated, improved and innovative projects and interventions. To conclude, I would like to mention that it is the need of the hour to develop a clear understanding of the relevance to maintain and strengthen the equilibrium between climate change and nature-based solutions.
In the course of implementation, the Capacities project will support mainstream climate change aspect, both adaptations and mitigations, into urban development planning and implementation process, enhance the capacities of state and city government to access a range of financial resources, including innovative finances. Second, development of a robust methodology, which we refer to as the Climate Resilient Cities Process, CRCP, is a 7-step across 3 phases: analyze, act, and accelerates. This is a crucial tool, a roadmap for city governments to identify, design, implement, evaluate, and accelerate climate actions in the cities. Based on this methodology and in consultations with the city government officials, climate action plan at the city levels are developed, which we refer to as Climate Resilient City Action Plan, CRCAP. Fourth, dissemination of knowledge, product, and learnings with the idea of linking local level climate actions to the global and national level. Final, facilitate national level dialogue on certain issues with the idea of recommending policy level changes on climate change issues. Ever since its inception, a number of pilots have been implemented across different sectors like renewable energy, urban biodiversity and green space, green mobility, integrated waste management. The implementations of these pilots has resulted in a number of environmental benefits, more specifically climate benefits, like productions of 100,000 cubic meter of clean energy in the form of biogas, production and utilizations of 257,000 kilowatt hour of renewable energy per annum, GHG emissions reductions to the extent of 6,000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalents per annum. Most importantly, the Capacities project contributes towards achieving some of the climate goals of India's nationally determined contributions, which it has committed to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
As we all know, in Urban Outcome Framework, there have been 4 major national level of frameworks which have been merged together. These 4 frameworks are MPI, EOL, DMAF, and CSCF. EOL is Ease of Living, DMAF is Data Maturity Assessment Framework, MPI is Municipality Performance Index, and CSCF, as we all are aware, is Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework. So, concluding more on what we have focused in this Climate Smart Cities Assessment Framework are 5 majorly recognized thematic areas which are also the concern at the city level. So these thematic areas are energy and green building, that is we call EGB, urban planning, green cover, biodiversity. Then there is mobility and air quality. The fourth is water resources management, and the fifth is waste management. So considering that these 5 major thematic areas play a major role in the climate resilience aspect and how cities can improve in these 5 thematic areas, we assess the cities. In CSCF 2, we have understood that cities have been trying their best in knowing what are the areas where they lack and what are the strengths which they can showcase in the coming future. So going forward, our aim is to help cities in understanding what are the different sectors in which they could improve upon, and it should be city focused development which is by the city, and particularly decision is made by the city and not something which has been put onto them by the other departments.